Alma. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. A little bit startled from last night. I don't know if any Houstonians are here listening with us, but yesterday on Thursday, that was quite a storm. There was a tornado and everything. So how are you from that situation?
Luckily, I'm alive.
Yeah.
But it was very scary.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole entire night, the thunder, the lightning, the rain, sorry. And then just the wind. It sounded just so like a scary
Violent?
movie. Violent, yes.
Yeah.
Very, very horribly.
No, 100%. I'm not usually, I'm from Plano, so I understand having thunderstorms. It's common in Texas. It's even common for us to just have tornadoes in general. But I was scared because the power went out at my hotel and I was alone. So I opened the hallway and it's completely pitch black. And I am not here to be like part of a horror movie. I'm like a little bit startled. So I went back into my hotel. I was like, I'm sure it'll get fixed because the lights were kind of still flickering. At some point I realized though that after probably an hour that it was going to take longer. Built up the courage, went downstairs, almost got locked out, and it was a whole situation. But when I went downstairs, I just saw everyone super heated about the situation, all of the other residents super upset. So I just said, the staff is already overwhelmed. Doesn't make sense for me to overwhelm them anymore. And I waited it out, couldn't tell you how long it was, but it was unsettling. It was very unsettling, but little did I know how privileged I was. Apparently the Houstonians in the north still will not have power, and one of our studio staff mentioned that he's probably going to be out of power for an entire week.
That is really, I can't see myself being without power for a week.
That's really intense, yeah.
Yes.
And so, I'm glad you're safe. Did you get any stories from it? I know you have friends in Houston.
I have
Are they
a couple
okay?
of friends, yeah. One of my friends, Carol, her entire apartment complex got demolished extremely at the condo where I'm staying at. The carport there, literally were brought down on vehicles, just like a Carol, like I showed you earlier. They were brought, like you could pull your vehicle out if you wanted it to, but it was just like all the way down. There was branches, trees.
And that's dangerous.
Oh my God, there was a tree that was literally through the window of one of the complex. It was horrible.
Oh my
horrible.
goodness.
It was pretty horrible, but thank God we were okay.
I hope everyone in Houston is doing well. I hope everyone is staying safe, and I cannot believe that I didn't know there was a tornado going on. I was completely oblivious. The power went out. My phone was out of battery. I hope that never happens again, and I will see how it develops over time because I know there's a lot of damages. I know there's a lot of cars that have been damaged, a lot of homes.
Under the floods also, because I was driving last night through the Galleria, and I stayed in your hotel. Well, the streets were flooded.
Yeah.
Some of the streets were blocked completely.
Yeah.
I was just really looking for something to eat.
Yeah.
It was late night, and I was like, oh.
I know.
Then I was like, why is this stores closed and it's barely 9?
Yeah.
Oh, you can't go through there. Makes sense.
I was going for dinner, and then I realized that I couldn't get out of the hotel really with how bad the storm was, so I just decided to eat all of the snacks that I had. Girl, dinner! But anyways, I'm so happy to have you on the podcast today. It's so exciting. We're not here with Sandy, but I think it's so fun to just get to chit chat. We do it all the time anyways, so it feels very natural. And we just want to get to know about your experience as an executive paralegal. You've been the longest standing employee that I've met with Sandy, and you do an excellent job.
Thank you.
And you've been a really big mentor just as far as educating me on everything. As a baby paralegal, I'm ambitious over here. But yeah, you've definitely been a guiding force for me. So I just want to first ask you, how did you get involved?
Sure. Well, this is a true story, crazy story.
Yeah.
So I've known Sandy for quite a long time.
Yeah.
But when we really were really involved, I was doing some organization project in his building that we used to own on Main Street. And it was just organizing stuff.
Yeah.
Getting stuff shipped, put stuff in the storage, what have you. Because he was planning to sell the building anyways.
Yeah.
So that's why he's like, clean, get rid of everything down there, sell it, do whatever you have to do, but get it out of my hair. So I did. Then he came down one day and he's like, hey, would you ever like to work for me since you're here all the time with me? I'm like, no, here's the thing. I am chubby. I'm a girl and everything. But I told him, I hear that people that work in offices gain weight and become bipolar. So I was like, and I'm more hands-on person, being around, outside, moving and everything.
Right.
He's like, well, you have one of the most strongest PRs that I've ever seen in people. And I'm like, PR, what is that? Personal relationship. You know, you always go for the yes. Even though you have a no in front of you, you go for the yes. And you make a client or a person feel welcome.
And heard. And valued,
yes. So I was like, I'll give it a shot. 2 weeks later, I didn't really put no mind to it. 2 weeks passed by, and then he came back. He's like, so have you thought about it? I'm like, thought about what? The proposal that I did for you to come work for me. I was like, oh, that. Sure, let's try it. I tried it. And I came in whenever we were finally settling on the West case. Yes. I came out. I started working for the firm whenever we had settled the West case. And I had helped them when translating because I'm fluent on Spanish and English. And he's like, well, you know what? I would like to take you to the West so you can help me and talk to the clients we have and explain the settlement and all that good stuff. Mind you, I went from licensed contracting what
a change
to a firm. And I'm like, okay. So, and it was just perfect flow for me. You know, just being able to translate the documents to clients, you know, and seeing the pain in their eyes and seeing of what they went through, you know, after so many years, finally, hey, we won, you know, and telling them, well, you know what, now is compensation. Now here comes. And how grateful they were. Especially like the Latinos. The Latinos, they were so like, thank you, señorita, muchas gracias por todo lo que hicieron, meaning that means thank you very much for everything I've done. That kind of started making me feel like, you know, I really like this. Because it sounds corny and whatever, you know, but I like to help people.
There's a passion behind it. And that makes you a better worker, right?
Yes.
You're very empathetic. You know, Alma is one of the people at the firm who will take the time to guide and talk to a client, not just on a legal process, but also the emotional side. You know, I think lawyers maybe aren't as attached to the clients in this manner, but I feel like, especially with personal injuries, there's people who have lost completely their income, have lost limbs, have lost their autonomy, and there's the emotional side of things. I think paralegals, you know, without a doubt, have been kind of tasked with that. And so I think you being able to handle those things. I remember when the clients were crying in the conference room for the first time.
All the time. They always like, there's always 1 out of 3 that always cries. And it's like, I don't mean to make them cry, but it's just whenever I bond with those clients or potential client at the time. It's like telling them, look, I'm not promising you anything. You know, it's always a 50-50 chance with this, you know, but let us be that voice for you because I know they're not hearing you just because. And then also because a lot of the Hispanic community, they don't think they have rights because of the simple fact that some of our immigrants, their immigration status might not be.
There might be undocumented or
you know what I mean? And
there's
then
a
it's
language
like
barrier.
They believe that just because of that, they don't have rights. And that is completely wrong, you know? And I'm going to make sure that, you know what, I make them sure and make them feel comfortable. You do have rights in this world.
Yes.
You do. No matter whatever your immigration status is, if you're hurt, we see that you're hurt, let us be that voice for you, you know? And I give them that hope. And, you know, finally, as somebody actually does hear them out, and that brings tears to them. And like I said, as Latina, as a mother, as a woman, it makes me feel like, let's fix this, you know? Let's fix this. Let's do something. And I come to Sandy. I'm like, Sandy, this is what's going on.
I love it. I love it. And so I want to ask you about some of the challenging aspects of being a paralegal. I think there's many.
There's many. I have a lot of them. Yeah. But the most painful ones and challenging ones are the ones that whenever you do an intake, basically that means whenever you interview the person to see if we can or cannot take their case, right? And after you bond with that person, you'll probably bond with the person probably for like 2-3 days before they get the final decision of the attorney, you know, after reviewing everything. And you know it, like, well, let me speak from my point of view.
Yeah.
When I see what they're going through, they tell me their problems, they're struggling with what have you. And let's say that Sandy doesn't take the case for a legal reason, you know.
Right. Sometimes there's literally nothing you can do.
Exactly. And delivering that news to the potential client. And it's like I said, I like helping people, and not being able to help them. It's just like, it's just like, that's the hardest part for me, turning down that person.
I remember my first few, turn downs were not easy at all. I don't think, it does get a little bit more routine maybe. Like you just have to start doing this like detachment where it's like, as much as you want to help them and as much as a human aspect this is to feel this way, professionally speaking, it has to be done.
Yes. And like I said, you get from everything. You know this. I always tell you, what's the first thing? You take charge of this call. You take control of it. Okay? You are the one guiding this.
Right.
All right. And sometimes we do get those hard ones that don't take denial or don't take a no very roughly. It's like, where did that sweet person went? And then they turn like complete into like, what do you mean you can't help me?
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, I was really feeling sympathetic about you, But there's a lot of mixture.
Don't be mean to the paralegals; it won't help you.
Yeah, and it's not on our hands. But at the same time, I can relate with them because they reach out to us with hope. It's like, finally somebody trying to help me, or please help me. After hearing so many no's or what have you, the reasons that the other attorneys or whatever the situation might be, they don't get the help that we can offer, and they expect it. But I did get a few of them. Actually, as a matter of fact, one from last week. After we turned down the case, we couldn't assist him. You know what he said afterwards? Afterwards, he said, "You know what, Alma? It's okay. I understand, but I want to thank you because you actually took the time to hear me out."
Yeah.
Every other attorney that I reached out is, no, sorry, we can't help you. And that's it.
It's cold.
You, the way you delivered it, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
And may I please save your number? I was like, yeah, go for it. Save my number if there's any questions you need in the future or what have you. Don't hesitate on contacting us. Plain and simple.
Yeah.
And that right there boils all back down to the reason Sandy came to me and said, would you like to work for us?
Right.
Because that relationship I create with them. And and then like there's a lot of other tons of stories I could tell you about them.
Yeah, no, 100%. And thank you for sharing that because I think that is a big part. I think half of it is just PR, right?
Yeah.
Interacting, knowing how to handle those situations because they're always different. And then I wanted to also ask you about your typical day. I know you're always in the office working very, very hard. And so what does that look like for someone who's interested in being a paralegal?
Honestly, like, it's different for every person that tries it. Is different. I can't tell you. For me, is the fact of every single day is different. Yeah. Every single phone call, once you pick up that phone, it's like there's another world out there for whoever you're speaking with. You know, and the excitement of that is just like, okay, can't wait for tomorrow, Or there's some other days that are not as good because of the fact that we have to decline some of, the leads or what have you. Yeah. But other than that, it's just very, very busy. The knowledge that I get from Mr. Sandy McCorquodale, the knowledge every single day, I learn something different, something different. And that is just like feeding my brain, you know. And the excitement is like every single day, I kid you not, just yesterday I learned something that I didn't even know. And I was like, hold on, I've been here almost 7 years and I did not know that.
Yeah. I believe it. I believe it.
Things like that, and it's just, you have to be really strong-minded and really wanting to absorb and want to be in this field. Yeah. Because it's not made for everybody.
It's demanding. It's stressful. It's very tedious, detail-oriented. Mistakes, they can't be made.
They cannot. You have to say how you say things. You have to say how you say things. Watch how you say things. You can't tell a client, well, I'm sorry, but we can't take your case. Well, hold on. How can you not take my case if you just said that it's a case? No, we cannot. We have to address things certain. We have to be very crisp.
Potential case.
Correct. It's a potential case. And it's like very, very, and it's all for protecting your attorney.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You have to protect him because you say something wrong as a paralegal, you're the first one, you're the face of the firm.
Yeah. The responsibility.
Exactly. It's huge on your shoulders. But at the same time, it's like you can make it, oh, well, they couldn't take my case, but you know what? They're very great. And they share it with their cousins, their aunts, their grandpas, and that's how it comes. My phone number, I have leads that come to me because of people that have already met with me.
Right.
You know, probably 10% of them, of our clients come like that.
Right.
Because of that.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what else to tell you about that. It's just, it's not for everybody. It's not.
It isn't. Yeah.
You just have to be very for sure that you want to take this field, this job, because it's really, really demanding. It's like you said it earlier. It's very tedious. It's very.
And the work never ends.
Never.
Right?
Never.
After a week of putting in those hours, you think, and the stack just never gets smaller.
Never.
Yeah. It's never ending, but it's enjoyable. I feel like as a student, I have slightly different perspective than you. You work full-time, I work part-time. You're typically mostly in the office, whereas I work more remotely. And I think remote work is interesting. We always have like weekly meetings, especially to touch base, make sure we're communicating well. I think communication is a huge aspect, if not the first aspect. You know, making sure, I always ask you 3 times before, is this correct? And writing down every step on how to do it, because when you're being trained, you can't skip any steps. We have manuals at work, instructional manuals, where we have to go.
You're doing a great job on those.
Thank you very much. And so you go one by one, and it's very procedural, you know. But if you overlook anything or you try to skip steps, you will mess up, and it will completely ruin everything that you were doing.
It's gonna make it much more difficult.
Yep.
And if it's just simple, just following steps.
Yeah.
And like I said, like I've always told you, reading is key. I learned that from Mr. Sandy. Reading is key. If you don't know anything, read it. And then you'll be like, oh, okay.
You want to know an embarrassing story?
Yes.
And I will never forget this. I remember when I was interviewing with Sandy more than a year ago, and I remember I had my resume and I felt pretty good about it, and I had him read it, and he looked at it, he scanned it, and then he goes, "There's an error here." And I was like, my heart dropped. I was like, well, there goes the job. And it was because I forgot to put law office of Sandy McCorquodale, comma, P.C. I forgot the dot.
Yeah.
I forgot one of the dots, and that has never happened again. He can immediately look at a document and see all the errors, all the grammar issues, and I really envy that. You know what I mean? He told me what it's like to think like a lawyer, what it's like. You know, it takes a certain personality, I think, because of the skills that are demanded from the job, and I think one of them is like very detail oriented, very organized. And so ever since then, I'm like making sure to read backwards on my emails and do all the tips that he recommends us. And so I'm sure you can relate to all that.
100%.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I remember the paralegal before many years ago, right? She will always misspelled McCorquodale. After, I don't know, she was there at the firm for probably 5 years already, 4 years.
What?
She would still always misspell McCorquodale.
Wow. No.
She will forget the R.
I remember searching up, like, on YouTube, like, how do you say that name? Like, I just want to make sure to get his name right. I was like, McCorquodale. And I get to the interview, and I'm like, hi, Sandy. I was like...
You're like, I prepared myself for this, but I did not use it.
I couldn't. Yeah, but I make sure to spell right. I don't think it's that difficult. It is a little confusing because there's, like, a lot of O's and U's and A's. But that's ridiculous. That is ridiculous.
How I do whenever I'm typing it. In my head, I'm typing McCorquodale, but in my head, this is what I use. McCorquodale. There's Latinas in there. McCorquodale.
Yes, ma'am.
And if you say that word in your head, as a Latina, you'll spell it out. And I'm like, okay. So, and I still, to the day, after almost 7 years later, I still say McCorquodale.
Whatever works. Whatever works is what's important. Yeah. And so, yeah, every day is a little bit different, like you mentioned. Some days we're traveling. There's a lot of traveling involved.
That's the hard part, yes. It's enjoyable. I love it because it's just like...
It'll take you places.
It does. It will. It most definitely will. Especially, it makes our clients that we have here in Houston feel that they are important as well, not just over the phone, you know? It has a great, like, I love it because it gives me more experience because I can't just go across the hall and knock on Sandy's door and ask. I have to take my knowledge with me here.
Yes.
You know, I can't just, I could just pick up the phone and call him because Mr. Sandy always tells me, I'd rather you ask me 1,000 times than making a mistake here. Haven't I told you those words?
Yes, ma'am.
You know, and let me pause on that one. And I can tell sometimes when you ask me like 4 times.
I'm like, and I hope you don't get annoyed.
4 times, and then I'm typing, and then I hear you.
Alma.
No. You don't say nothing. Then you're like, and I'm like, okay, Ale, what is it? She's like, okay, it's because of this. I know you. Like, I could tell.
Yeah.
And it's like, I love that. And it makes me feel like that was me when I was barely starting here. But anyways, like, going back to the topic, my clients here in Houston are so, I don't know, it's really breathtaking. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm so involved emotionally, because that doesn't sound right, but I'm so involved. I make them feel like you do matter for me.
Right.
You do matter to us. We're not just going to be remote, or pick up the phone. Some of my clients, majority of my clients, actually, all of my clients that are here in Houston that I have, they have my direct line, because you don't know when, look, for example, what happened today. Well, like, for example, our clients that we have here, like today, after the storms last night, I contacted her. I was like, hey, are you okay? Because we do have a meeting tomorrow. I do have a meeting with her. And I was like, hey, are you okay? Is everything fine? Good thing I called her, because the apartment complex where our client is at, completely demolished. Completely 100% demolished. Wow. But the one little unit where she's at. And I'm like, thank God you're okay. She doesn't have any power either or anything. But other than that, it's just that connection. Right. You have to reach out to them, make them feel like you do matter. Because, and
sometimes we're one of the only peoples that will advocate.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I know you're always getting invited to the carne asadas and stuff.
No, I have one of our old cases that was, remember whenever I talked to you and I trained you and I told you there's going to be that one case. There's always going to be that one case that is going to make you completely fall in love with this field, or it's going to break it for you.
Make it or break it.
Make it or break it. Well, that was my one case that made it here. One of our clients here. After I dealt with her case, we dealt for her case for probably a little bit over a year. After we won, you're talking about 3 years ago. She knows my location. She follows me on social media, everything. I get a phone call as soon as 10 minutes I'm in Houston. Oh, mija, you're in town. Oh, hi, yes, I am. Oh, well, let's get together tomorrow or the next day, because I got mole for you. Because I'm a big sucker for mole, Mexican authentic mole. And it's just that relationship you keep, And then we received clients because of her. She referred a lot of clients to us, and her daughter was a client of ours. That's how we got to know her. But that's the case that did it for me. I did my 100% on that, beyond more than 100%, and that's what did it. That was the case that I looked at Sunday and I cried after he told me, you know what, we won. Yeah. I cried because it's like, she deserves it. She deserves it, because she was really injured, or whatever the case might be. Is that the actual telling your client, and he let me deliver that to her. Yeah. Telling them,
makes you feel like you're doing something important.
Yes. After you tell them, well, we won.
Yeah.
Hearing the background, hearing her scream, hearing them celebrate about that.
Yeah.
That's what makes it for me. And it takes away all the headaches and the stress and everything that it went through to get to that point of saying, you know what?
Yeah.
We won.
We won. Yes. No, I absolutely love that. And I want to kind of shift the topic here real quick about, we talked about the emotional side, which I think is so important, humanizes us, make sure our clients are heard and respected. But there's also obviously the skills, right? The developmental part of being a paralegal. And I wanted to ask you, how are you developing those skills? I know that Sandy provides us with the trainings constantly, resources constantly. And so what has that been for you?
Hey, actually, Mr. McCorquodale, it's like he took me under his wing. He put me into a college. It's called IPE College. Basically, it's college for paralegals.
Yeah.
And then you take courses, seminars, what have you, and that's how I developed my knowledge. On top of that, with Mr. McCorquodale. Yes. Sandy McCorquodale is a person that he will not give you a simple explanation. He will give you the whole 3 pages.
He'll give you an encyclopedia verse by verse.
Exactly. And he will point out key points on that.
Yep.
That's what I appreciate the most about Mr. McCorquodale, that any question you have, anything, he'll give you your answer, but then he'll give you a how to figure that out and where to go get that. And, you know, and it's like every single day, like I mentioned earlier, I learned something different with Mr. McCorquodale.
You know, something that was probably super shocking. I have a background in nonprofit and politics, and so, you know, that's usually with limited resources. You kind of put yourself in a bunch of different roles because you're working with what you can. And something that was really shocking for me was this is probably the first job or career path that I've chosen that there is constantly a supply of resources. I mean, that he will go above and beyond. And with talking about conversation, I had never really had someone who, you know, you go in for one question and you stay for an hour.
Yes.
You stay for an hour
Always.
and you're just writing notes and you're like, okay,
Always.
got it. I've joked before, but I have a spreadsheet where I put all of these like tips or, you know, something really valuable that I know that I might forget in the future, and I keep it there so that I can make sure that for all those conversations we have, I can get those key notes and that stay with me until I go to law school, you know? And so, yeah, I totally agree. I think having accessibility to your lawyer constantly is the best.
Correct.
It's always a lot of knowledge. And then, you know, your personal life. You know, you work so hard. This is a very demanding job. Everyone knows that lawyering is very demanding.
It's like an on-call.
Yeah, you're on call. And how do you balance that? I mean, you have kids, you have many children, lovely kids that I've met. And how do you balance that? How do you make sure?
Well, that's where I was kind of pointing out towards when I was saying the traveling, it's hard. It's just leaving my family behind.
Right.
But it's for something positive, you know? And the great support that I have from my husband, my mother, they're like, I was like, Mom, I have to, or my husband, hey, I have to go to Houston. Okay, mija, go, mija, we got it. I tell my mother, okay, mija, me voy a llevar a los niños para Chicago. Like this weekend, I had to come over here. Mom was like, well, I'll lighten your load. I'll take 2 of the kids, and I'll take them to Chicago with me this weekend. I'm like, well, I want to go to Chicago. I love my tia's mole. She's making mole, the green one. And she's like, just go, baby. It's going to be fine. That support. And then there's at times that I can bring my children with me.
Yeah,
you know,
that's good.
Because we have a condo here. There's times that I could bring them in trouble with my husband and my kids, and then, you know, I get to take care of what I have to take care of here and not worry about what's going on back at home. They're here with me.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like that's the only hard part, just being away from them more than 3 days. That's just the challenging part. But normally, that's only when I travel. When I'm at home, my husband's a great support.
Yeah.
Great support, and my mother. And like I said, I do have a lot of kids, and it's just like they look up to me a lot. You know, they see Mom working really, really hard. You know, 2 of my kids are really wanting to be like, Mom, I want to be like you and Sandy. You know, that's just like... hey,
melts your heart.
Yes, because I tell them, I was like, really? It's like, yeah. Because my passion, when I was younger, I wanted to become an anesthesiologist.
Oh, really?
I love the medical field.
I also wanted to go into the medical field,
The medical field was the key point for me, but my parents didn't want me to do medical field, so they took me through a business route. I understand why after my father passed away, but that's not a topic I want to touch. But my kid, Sophia, Miss OG Bobby Brown, you know, I thought that she wanted to play basketball because she's so athletic. You know, throughout my entire schooling, volleyball, soccer, varsity volleyball, varsity soccer. I mean, I was very active when I was young in school. Yeah. You know, she's the same way. She's following my same footsteps. Right. But she said, I want to play basketball, professional basketball. I was like, you go for it, baby. 2 years ago, she changed. 2 years ago, it was, Mom, I want to become either a paralegal or an attorney like Sandy.
Wow.
And I want Sandy to teach me.
Yes.
You know, that's the one that was a shocker for me because I didn't see her wanting to be in an office. She was she's the active one. Yeah. You know, the very, like, likes to be out or what have you. Yeah. And she wants to follow his steps.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. I love this career.
Yeah, and I've met other attorneys, but there's no other like McCorquodale. Sandy is a person that will not just teach you so you can go on and finish the task. He'll teach you so you can carry something for the rest of your life with you.
Not all lawyers are created equal.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so I think the flexibility that we also have is really beneficial. Exactly. You know, you as a mom, if there's a time that your kid is sick or you just have to leave, you're given that permission. Yes. And obviously, right now I'm going to go to Taiwan soon, which I'm so excited for, a little study abroad. Haven't had that opportunity yet. So I am very excited. And of course, Sandy was completely understanding and always put my education first and make sure
100%.
during finals and exams, like, I can cover everything that I need to, but he doesn't want to put the load too heavy.
Exactly.
And so I think for anyone, especially any young paralegals or any students, the advice I can give to you is don't settle for someone who's disrespectful, or, you know, find someone who understands your situation, empathizes with you, and wants to meet you where you're at. And I think that that creates the best environment, especially working environment. So, yeah, do you have advice for maybe moms or like other anything you'd like to add?
Just go for it. If you're ever thinking about becoming a paralegal, it's really challenging, but it's at the end is very rewarding. The knowledge, when you have a family member, when you go to family, like, again, here goes another example. Last weekend, I had gone to a family reunion, which I was tricked to go into. Literally, I was tricked to go into. My grandmother was there. All my aunt, my dad's baby brothers, because my father was the oldest of 9. All my uncles and aunts were there. My grandmother was there. All my cousins' kids were there. All my cousins, everybody.
Wow.
And I'm like, ay Dios mío. Why didn't nobody tell me this was going to happen? Because they knew I wasn't going to go, you know, because it's like I have so much things to do with work. I have my kids. It's a Saturday. I'm finally off. No, I would have said no. So I understand why. But anyways, my aunt had an issue, and she's a potential client, and it was telling me, well, the knowledge that I learned from work, I was like, no, tia, something can be done because A, B, and C, or D. You know, that's the rewarding part about stuff.
Yeah.
So if you ever, or, you know, if y'all ever thinking about it, go for it. It's like I said, I don't regret it.
Right.
I don't at all.
Yeah. No, I've been loving it. I've been loving it. So I'm excited to continue this career path and one day be a lawyer, go to law school, and have you guys at my graduation. Especially when I graduate undergrad, I want all of y'all to be there.
Definitely. We'll throw a party.
Yeah. Thank you. Because also it's like what they don't tell you is like you become friends with the people you work with. You know,
likely.
you go through a lot and you come out from it and you know each other a lot better, more than you think. I don't know if that happens in every job, but it's bound to happen, I think, at a law firm.
Yeah. But see, like other jobs, I've had other types of jobs, I'm telling you. Construction, warehouse management, inventory controlling. I used to even run a forklift shift. I used to do forklift management shift.
Yeah.
And I've never seen this kind of relationship environment that I've had there. Never. Like this right here, the flexibility, you know, the knowledge that I get. You know what I mean? Understanding of my boss.
Yeah.
Emergencies. Hey, Sandy, this is what's going on. I got a dip. Go for it. It's okay. It's okay.
And that brings, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was going to say that brings me to my next point. What do you think are those qualities that make a really strong legal team?
Communication. Communication and being honest on the fact of, hey, I really don't get this. Or, hey, I appreciate this. Thank you very much for teaching me this, or what have you, you know? Like, if I didn't bring that in the table of making a person feel welcomed again, you know, going back to my PR, I'm helpful. I'm a person that just want to be helping people, you know, and especially whenever you came into the firm, I was like,
which is a funny story.
Very funny story. Now, when I finally, for my birthday, I'm not going to tell you my age, but April 22nd was my birthday. And the card you gave me, it's like, wow, you know what I mean? The way you think about me, the way you express yourself about me. And I was like, am I all that, really? You know? It was like, I don't want to start crying here, y'all. So no, we're not going to get into that one. That made me feel like, you know what? I am making a difference, you know, and I'm impacting you in a positive way, you know? And it's just like, my word, there's nowhere other employment or job like mine. There's not. And it's because of Sandy.
Yeah, there's nothing like it.
No, nothing.
And for being so like kind-hearted and everything like that, how do you deal with rude clients, with rude attorneys? Because here's the thing, attorneys can have some big egos. You know, I will be the first to say it. They are not always the easiest people to work with. You know, when you have to interact with attorneys from other law firms, and how do you deal with that?
I'm like, I always tell everybody, Sandy, I protect Sandy over anybody and everything, you know? And it's just like, he will never say no. I'm the one behind him. You're going to say no. You know, you make sure you say no.
Yeah.
But any situation like that, let's talk about rude attorneys.
Yeah.
I hold my ground. You know, I can manage for myself.
Yeah.
But when I can't handle it or it's going far and beyond, I just go into the office and I tell Sandy, that's all I do. He's like, I'll handle it. He knows because Sandy is like taking care of me from behind. He sees everything, you know, and he knows that I can handle stuff. But, you know, there's times that I need him to step in.
Yeah.
Clients, rude clients, rude potential clients. And the rude potential clients, we already talked about the potential client. Those are just like, keep your composure. I have to 100%, you have to keep your composure and don't ever, you know, be disrespectful or what have you, but just keep your composure and that's it. And just hang up. That's the end of that.
Yeah.
Now our clients that we constantly have to communicate with them. We know we have one, you know, just keep your composure, deliver what they need legal-wise. Just keep on your mind, be very professional, you know, and learn how to separate your personal emotions, how what you feel towards that person, and business. You know, you're there to help them.
Yeah.
You know, and at the same time, you got to understand that there is a reason why they're acting this way.
Right.
You know, some clients, when they get rude or mad or what have you, it's because they only rely on us to help them for something that they couldn't even do on their own. That's why they reached out to us.
Right.
And like I said, the minute that I signed those clients in, I'm going to be there for you. I'm going to be that word. I'm going to be the voice for you, you know? And whenever they feel frustrated about something, I can understand. I can put myself in their position, in their shoes sometimes. Okay. But other times it's just.
Can't take it personally.
I cannot take it personally, but at the same time, it's like, hey, I'm trying to help you. We're not the enemies here.
Yeah.
You know, you have to work with us.
Yeah.
You know, if you can't do A, B, or C, then I can't perform and deliver. You know, you need to come to an agreement. So I'm always, 99% of the time, I've always been able to tone that down 100%. I never needed Mr. McCorquodale to ever step in because that's not his job. That's my job as his paralegal, you know.
And I also think that's another quality that you mentioned, just like having each other's back. Correct. Making sure that at the end of the day, if I was a client, I would not try to badmouth anyone because we are a very strong knit team. And at the end of the day, we have each other's back. And I know that there have been instances with either potential clients or clients that we ended up having to withdraw from, where if they step over the line, I feel like I'm a little bit protected sometimes, you know. You'll make sure that I don't have to deal with all the fuss. But if anyone ever disrespects me, I know that there have been actions that will be taken, and it's not taken lightly. And I think that's a way of protecting your employees and making sure that that trust is never broken.
Exactly. 100%, and I agree.
Yep. And now talking about something a little bit different, a little fun topic that I don't feel like we get to talk about. But, you know, since it's just the ladies, I feel like we can. Let's talk about fashion and all things presenting yourself as a paralegal. You know, how can you shine through your personality and express yourself, but still maintain, you know, professional?
So, okay. That one. Okay. We're girls. So we love doing our nails. I love doing our nails and everything. But whenever I'm at the nail salon and I'm getting my fills, see, beautiful nails, they glow at dark. So, and that's the only spark I get. So I see other ladies getting their bright colors, you know, the highlighter green color, highlighters, you know, bright red.
Yeah.
I would like to do those. But if you really think about it, I mean, Sandy will never complain about nothing like that.
Yeah.
But if you really think about it, it doesn't look professional.
Yeah.
It doesn't look professional. Like, I keep it nice, simple, plain, decent. But believe it or not, guys, and this is for all of y'all viewers, I look decent and everything, but yes, your girl does have tattoos. Yes, your girl is a normal person out there in the world, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
And whenever we don't have clients, you know, when I know I don't have in-person clients, girl, my hair is like this, y'all, literally up. My hair is literally up, you know, I don't have no makeup on. Sometimes I come in chanclas and, you know, just really comfortable so I can work. But when I do have in-person clients coming in or in-person potential clients, you got to think about you are the face of the firm. You know, you're the first person they see representing the law office of Sandy McCorquodale. Right. So for those moments that you see a human, you know, or sometimes we do Zoom, which it's not one of my preferences. I don't prefer, I don't like doing Zoom, but you have to be very professional, very, you know, clean cut if you're a man, you know, your hair combed perfectly, no smell bad, because I will comment on that. You know, anything like that, you have to be very careful because you don't want a potential client going out there. It's like, oh my God, and I'm not going to go with that firm because the girl was wearing chanclas when we were coming, when we went to, that's very unprofessional.
Yeah, and for me, I mean, you already know I love fashion. Like, it is literally my thing. But, I think as long as it's not distracting, that's the biggest thing. I think when people think what's professional, what's not professional, I feel like there is a time and there's a place. As someone who likes to play with colors, and I did have bright green nails at some point, and I love getting my nails done and doing something to diversify my look. I always make sure that if it's something like trial, if it's something like I know I need to be professional, I will just wear black. I will wear something very simple because I know Sandy is very open-minded about those things. He's not going to comment on any of that. He's not going to have a fuss about it. But when it comes to when he told me how he dresses, right, I asked him what colors look best, and he always recommends just black, white, blue, and potentially red. And choosing those colors are bold, and they are not distracting in court. You don't need to, you don't want anyone to be talking about your outfit when you're trying to come across with whatever you're trying to say. So that's what I've learned, because I remember coming to the law firm in some crazy outfits.
I remember the one
very
with
colorful.
the big old thing on the neck.
The big old thing on the neck. Oh, the purple one? I still have it. Thrifted, vintage. I was very excited for that one. I was like, it's giving Hunger Games,
Yes.
And so, yes, I definitely like to experiment with fashion. And I feel like you totally can, regardless of what profession you choose, as long as it's, again, that time and place. As you can see, I love color. I love pink. And to express yourself, I think, is really important. And it doesn't take away from your intelligence.
Exactly. See, and I always tell Mr. Sandy, I call him Mr. Gray. Always. Because I love him he looks... dark colors look amazing on him. When he comes to the office on a Easter yellow color shirt, I look at him and I'm like, Sandy, what are you wearing? He's like, hey, this is my Sunday shirt. It's pretty. It's nice. I was like, okay, good. Even like it's the opposite, because with us, he never makes a remark or a comment or nothing. In return, I'm like, hey, no, you're not wearing that. No, sir.
That's why you need women at the firm. You know, make sure you're on point. I love it. And I think that's excellent.
So let me ask you a question. I have a question for you.
Yeah, go for it.
And I've been meaning to ask you this. So I know that you want to go to law school.
Yes.
What kind of law do you want to practice?
Oh, goodness. I think I'm to the point at the firm where I just genuinely love my job. And I tell my mom all the time what a big blessing this has been. I didn't come from a wealthy family. This is the first time that I'm going to college, right? Like in my family, first generation college student, first generation American. And to have this position at this age is one of the greatest blessings of my life, genuinely. So I've decided that if Sandy will accept me, I'm more than happy to be working with the law office of Sandy McCorquodale as a lawyer.
Congratulations.
I definitely see myself here for as long as I can be. Before I was interested in civil rights and immigration. I have a long history of social activism and very involved in politics, local, state, and federal. And that passion is not gone away. And I take my time to advocate for the things that I believe in. But I know that the career path that I've taken is also something that I'm very confident in. Where I wasn't sure, I was kind of in between. I knew that 15-year-old me was like, go civil rights, go do this and this and this. But I really just come to enjoy this career. So,
and if I may speak about this,
of course.
When I told you, I've always tell you, you're gonna go far. You're gonna go far on this.
Thank you.
But recall, I don't want you to start crying. But recall whenever something tragic happened many months ago, and I had asked, you actually talked to me. I don't know how that topic came up, but you're like, I'm losing interest.
Yeah.
And I stopped you right away because I could see it in your eyes. I could see, you put it on paper as well, of how devoted you are to this field, and you're like, you know what, I don't know. I'm thinking about if it's not what I really want to do. And I told you, look, no. I know who you are. I know what your dreams are. And this is she talks a lot about this. So, you talk about how passionate you are about where we're at. And I told you, don't drift away because it's whatever that tragic situation was going on, that's what's in your mind right now. Don't let that determine your actual path. And look at you now. Now you're like, again, you're back. You're back. And, sometimes I wonder, like, it's still like, sometimes I think and I ponder, like, what if she did? What if she actually would have just said, you know what, forget this. I'm going to go a different route. Do you ever think about that?
I definitely think about that. And my friends, they understand my situation. For some very simple context, I had some passings in the beginning of the year. And that completely struck my life in a completely different way. I didn't know how to handle it. It was my first time handling that amount of death in my life. And it put a perspective where I, as someone who really loved college and just fell in love with my degree and was having such a great time at work, the passion just went away.
I had to throw that last one, bring you back in.
Yes, and you sitting down with me and giving me those pep talks, because it wasn't just one, right? It was continuous. And sometimes it was late at night being like, I don't know what I'm doing, what's going on? And we mutually do that. And that's why I say, like, the firm is strong in that sense, where it's not just colleagues. And building that kind of confidence in me. Just reassuring me that, like, you will give me the time that I need. You will give me the support that I need. I remember the first phone call I gave you, and you were like, don't go to work. We will handle it. Forget about the email that I sent you. And I just started crying. Yeah, because it was an immense stress off of my shoulders. And I'm still thinking about those months. I still think about that. It was very tragic, very, very emotional. But I was able to complete my job because of the support that I had. And so I want to thank you, because you do recognize those little achievements. And you're like a second mom, honestly. You're my second mom. I go to work and you watch my back and you make sure I'm eating and you make sure,
And it's like, I was not going to let you drift like that, because I knew that was your passion, and look at you now.
Girl,
I'm the one tearing. I mean, that right there. And it's like, to anybody that wants to pursue this kind of field, or work for be a paralegal.
Yeah.
The bond you create with your coworkers, it's not just a coworker bond. It's not. Like, I love this child. She's like my daughter. Like, I'm telling her and my other daughter, my 12-year-old daughter, they're like, hey, girl, period. I'm telling you, it's like, hey, girl, like, your outfit. I kid you not, guys. Like, for real. But I was not going to, I knew that was her. She loved where she was at. And it was just the moment of what you were going through.
Yeah.
And you got
and look
this.
at that. So make sure you find yourself people that will support you in that way. And these are lifelong friends, truly. So I just want to thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for
coming
having
to
me.
Houston. And I love chatting with you. We should probably do another episode with her. I know you guys are going to love her.
Comment.
Comment. Please subscribe wherever you guys get your podcasts. We love to connect with you. Every question that you bring is going to be enriching our conversation. Yes. So do you have any final remarks?
No, I just want to thank you so much for having me here.
Absolutely,
and
my pleasure.
You're killing it. You're doing an amazing job, and keep the great job going. And hey, if you ever want to call me again, I'll be here. I'll come and I'll chit chat with you, and we'll see what happens.
I love it. Thank you so much, Alma. And of course, thank you for the listeners. You keep this podcast going. And again, subscribe, and we will see you next month.